Today, we're going to look at the Fuji XH2 with 6 different lenses to see which of them are good for video and vlogging. Let's go. What's up everybody? Phil with Photo Gear Fun here today. Just got this XH2 in a little while ago. Got a bunch of different lenses here with me today. We're going to check out, see which ones are good for video and vlogging. I'm starting with the one that I think is probably going to win based on my previous test. I did some tests with the XS10 with a similar group of lenses. Stay tuned for which one I think it is, but you're looking at it now. What I'm going to do is show you the lens with IBIS and OIS if it has OIS, and then I'll show you with the digital stabilization as well. So what you're looking at right now is just IBIS, and this lens I don't believe has optical stabilization. So pay attention to the corners as we go through this. I am in aperture priority. We're at f3.5 on this particular lens, which is the maximum aperture. How does it look? This is not necessarily a video quality test. I know where I am is kind of, the light is mixed, but I do this for a couple reasons. One is I want to show you the video of the fountain, which you can probably hear, and see how the lenses do zooming in and out. And also it's an uneven trail, so that gives us a little judge on what it's like if you're just kind of walking and talking and not paying attention to how you're walking, which I'm not. I'm just walking normally. I've got a Manfrotto Pixie tripod here, and the sound is coming from the Rode Go, Wireless Go 2. So the settings, like I said, I've got just the shutters going to whatever. It looks like it's pretty high right now, so we're not trying to follow any rules as far as video making goes. Just wanted you to see these lenses. So this is with IBIS on. We're at 15 millimeters. Spoiler, it's the 15 to 45. I think this might be the winner, but we'll check out the others. I'll put timestamps down below so you can see, but this is the 15 to 45 kit lens. I think I got it with my XT 200, and so this is what you can expect. What I'll do now is I'll turn on digital stabilization, which does crop in a bit, and then we'll see how it looks with digital stabilization. Let me know below how you think these lenses did. Okay, so that's the XF 15 to 45 at 15 with, they call it OIS boost on. So this is the most stable, as I can hear a woodpecker, and there's some ducks in the pond. So what I'll do is just give you a little bit of walking with this, and then I want to show you the zoom range of this particular lens. Some of the lenses we're testing will be prime, so you won't see the zoom range, but I'm going to point it at the fountain and zoom in from near to far and see how that looks. But this is, again, we are all the stabilizations on, holding it with this Pixie tripod about arm's length away. So again, I know that the exposure was a little bit up and down. I apologize for that, but I think this gives us the best idea. Again, this is not really a video quality test per se, but at least gives you an idea on how these lenses look, and you might see some of them look really crazy in the corners. So again, pay attention to the corners. So what I'll do now is turn it over to the fountain, do a little pan and do a little zoom, and we'll see how the IBIS looks on this, and we'll see what the zoom range is. So here we go. This is at 15 millimeters. Just panning as smoothly as I can. And this is a power zoom lens, so I'm going to zoom in. We're at 15. And now we're at 45. So 45. Back out to 15. All right, up next we're going to do the 10 to 24, which you might think would be the best lens for vlogging. Let's see how that does. All right, so here we are with the Fuji XF 10 to 24. Pay attention to the corners. I did some testing with this in the house, and it looked pretty good. I thought the wobble warble was fixed. Now that you see trees, and again, this is another reason why I'm here, get a kind of a detailed background, and let me know, again, pay attention to the corners. I'm at 10 millimeters f4, which is the maximum aperture for this particular lens. And this is with IBIS and OIS on. So this lens does have OIS. I think this is the only lens in the stable that we're going to test today that does have OIS. So let me know what you think. One thing I'll do with this is turn it on its axis, because sometimes you get some crazy results when doing that. So this is the widest lens we'll test. I've got a 12mm in the bag too, and we'll test next, and that's going to be manual focus, so there might be some of this out of focus. It's a Rokinon 12mm that's coming up next, but there's an autofocus version of that, so you can get an idea on how it looks. The optics are the same, but this is with IBIS and OIS. What I'll do next is turn on digital stabilization, and then we'll do the same thing with showing the zoom range and panning, looking at the fountain. Up next, digital stabilization and IBIS. Okay, digital stabilization is on. Again, this should be the most stable we can get at 10mm. You can see a wide field of view versus the first one we looked at, the 15mm. It's not too heavy a combo. I've got the 16mm f1.4, we'll check out later. I'm sure that's going to be a heavy combo. So again, this is the best stabilization you can get. And I'm just shooting this video in standard profile, by the way. So again, it's not about video quality, although you will see the video quality. I think it's pretty darn good. This is the best stabilization, so it's more about looking at the corners and looking at the video just overall to see which lenses might be right for you if you're looking to vlog or shoot some video. All right, so let's turn this around, do a little pan, and then zoom into the fountain. All right, so here we are. ISO is 125 at the moment. Shutter speed's bouncing about 1/500th. This panning again, look for any IBIS jerks or anything that looks bad with the IBIS. This is at 10mm. Now we'll go ahead and zoom in to 24. That is 24mm. And that is 10mm. Up next, we'll throw on that Rokinon 12mm f2 manual lens. We'll see how that goes. All right, this is the Rokinon 12mm f2 at f2. Just to get an idea on what the 12mm focal length looks like. Again, focus, I apologize if some of this is out of focus. I did manual focus to the best of the ability, but my arm is moving. But this is the 12mm field of view. This is just IBIS. There's no stabilization in this particular lens. Look at the corners, look at the color, look at the clarity, all that good stuff on this lens. Again, there's an autofocus version of that, which you probably want to get for vlogging. Same optics, basically, just has autofocus. And actually, now that I think about this, this is IBIS and OIS, so I did not change that mode, which happens in these videos. So this is the best stabilization you can get with this particular lens. And I'm not going to try to do the zoom or focus or look at the fountain at all. Not going to be something that I'll be able to do. It's pretty sunny out and I won't be able to see my focus very well. But what I'll do is turn off the digital stabilization and we'll get a look at how that looks with just IBIS. So up next, this 12mm with just IBIS. Here we go with just IBIS. So there is a nice new focus meter feature if you're in manual focus, but if there are no connections in the lens like there are on this one, it doesn't work. So again, I apologize if these are out of focus, but kind of focus again on, no pun intended, on the background and the warble, how this one looks. Everything looks good on the screen here, but I find when I get it back, you can see those warbles. So up next, we're going to throw on that beast of a lens, the 16mm f1.4. I do that at 1.4. See how that goes, and then I've got a 16mm f2.8. So you can see how that much lighter lens, much smaller lens. Check out the flares. All right, up next will be the Fuji 16mm f1.4. All right, eye autofocus is on, by the way. I'm not sure if I mentioned that or not. This is the Fuji 16mm f1.4, so you definitely should see a difference in the bokeh. This is just IBIS. There's no stabilization in this lens. You can see the tighter field of view than previous lens in the 10 to 24. It's some might say it's the right field of view for vlogging. Some might say it's tight. You can be the judge of that, especially when we turn on digital stabilization with the crop, but here's what you can expect from this, again, beast of a lens. It's a fairly heavy combo with the XH2 and the 16 f1.4. Shutter speed obviously jumping way up here at 1/1600th. Probably jump up to 2000 here. So if you want to get good smooth video, you'll definitely need an ND filter on this one. All right, up next, I will turn on digital stabilization, and then we'll just do a quick pan with this since we can't zoom. Do a quick pan and see how that works. I think my arm's gonna fall off, so let's go ahead and turn on digital stabilization. Okay, digital stabilization is on. You should notice a tighter field of view from the previous clip. But again, this is the best stabilization you can expect from this 16mm f1.4. I'm gonna switch arms here. Look for more videos on this XH2 for sure. I'm actually probably going to film an 8K video while I'm here at the fountain, and then I'll do some other videos. So let me know what you want to see with this XH2. Comparison videos, you can look on the channel and see other cameras that I have that I can compare it to. There might be a comparison to the Canon R7 coming up. Time permitting, we'll see what happens, but again, this is the Fuji 16mm f1.4 at f1.4 with all the stabilization on. So up next, let's just go over the fountain. I'll do a pan, and then we'll put the 16mm f2.8 on. That'll be at f2.8. All right, we're at 2500 on the shutter speed now, 3200. But this will give you an idea on what the panning looks like, the IBIS. It seems smooth on the back of the screen, but again, sometimes when I get it back into the studio, I see things differently. All right, we're gonna go over to the 16mm f2.8, and then we've got the 18-55 kit lens, and we'll wrap it up with that. All right, here is the Fuji 16mm f2.8. It's a newer lens than the one we just saw. Theoretically, it should have better autofocus. It's definitely smaller and lighter. It's probably half the weight or less, but f2.8, so you can see the difference in the bokeh between the 1.4 and this 2.8. This is IBIS only. There's no stabilization in this lens, so here's what you can expect. It's IBIS only, no crop. When we turn on digital, you'll see no crop in again like it did on the other, so it should be very similar field of view. It's the same focal length. Lighter, easier to travel with, but you're not going to get that crazy bokeh in the background, although I think it's still pretty decent at f2.8. So what I'll do now is turn on the digital stabilization, and we'll see how that goes. And then again, I'll just do a quick pan, and then we'll wrap up with the 18-55 f2.8 to f4. So let's go ahead and turn on digital stabilization. All right, digital stabilization on. Let me know how you think the sound is from this Rode. I tend to use the Ceramonic, it's my favorite, the Blink 500, but I'm using a Rode Lav as well, so let me know what you think of the sound. Let me know how these lenses are doing. Let me know what you think of the XH2. If you like the video, consider giving it a thumbs up. I appreciate it. This video takes a lot of time to make, so I appreciate it if you give me a thumbs up and leave some comments. Let me know how I'm doing. So this is the best stabilization you can get with this 16mm f2.8. And now what I'll do is just go over to the fountain and we'll just do a pan with this, and then we'll check out that 18-55. So we're at 400, 500 on the shutter speed. ISO is 125. They lowered the ISO on this from 160 to 125, which is nice. You can hear the soothing sounds of the fountain. All right, up next, the 18mm, 18-55. Actually, that has optical stabilization in it as well, so we'll do IBIS and optical stabilization on that. All right, here we are on the kit lens that I got with my XT3, I believe. It's probably the best kit lens, if not definitely one of the best kit lenses. We're at 18 millimeters, which is fairly tight, 27 millimeter equivalent roughly. F2.8, this has OIS, so OIS is on along with IBIS. And this is what you can expect from this lens. Again, if you don't think it's too tight, I think in my past experience this lens does a pretty good job as well with the OIS and the IBIS, and it's really not wide angle, so you don't see that warble, at least in the past with the XS10. I didn't see it, so. It's a fairly chilly day here in North Kakalaki. Had to put the coat on. All right, what we'll do next is turn on digital stabilization, and you'll definitely see the crop, and then we'll pan and zoom on the fountain. So up next, we're going to have OIS and IBIS and digital. All right, so you should definitely see the crop. I saw it even on the back screen here. So this is, I'm not sure what the exact crop is, but you know, maybe around 30 millimeters equivalent here, something like that. But this is the best stabilization that you can get. F2.8, which is the maximum aperture at this focal length. It goes up to F4 as you zoom in. My arm's getting tired, sorry. Let's switch. All right. I'll do one more pass, and then up next I'll pan and zoom on the fountain. We'll see how that looks, and then we'll wrap up this exhaustive look at the XH2. 6 different lenses to see how they do for video and vlogging. So up next we'll pan and zoom. All right, again we're at 18 millimeters. Shutter speeds 1,000th right now at f2.8, 1250. Again, the IBIS looks pretty good on the back of the camera, but we'll see when we get it back home. All right, so we're at 18 millimeters now. Let's zoom into 55. So a pretty decent range. There's 55. And there's 18. It's definitely a good walk around lens for photo and video. So that's what I wanted to show you. Let's go ahead and wrap up this look at the Fuji XH2 with 6 different lenses. All right, so we'll finish off with this 18 millimeter. Since I have it on, I don't want to switch another lens. Hope you enjoyed that video. Again, this is going to take a while to create and produce. If you like this type of video, please give me a like. Also, consider subscribing if you like these types of video. I really do appreciate it. Give me some comments down below. Let me know what you thought of anything in this video. I really do appreciate it. Thanks again for watching, and I will talk at you again in the next video.